Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and it is I am delighted, should I say, not it is delighted. I am delighted to be sat here once again in the big chair with the pen and the pad, and looking forward to discussing the mad, bad, and unpredictable world of Ipswich Town Football Club. Thank you very much for your well wishes, your comments, your prayers, your love, your thoughts, everything that you've given me and my family over the last 7-10 days, however long it's been a real comfort to only myself, my wife, and all of us here. So thank you all ever so much. But I am back, and I hope to never leave you again. But didn't the boys do well? So a huge thank you to obviously Matt and Rich for standing in, or sitting in as it is, and holding the fort down. They did well. So transfer roundup. The window is still open, of course. It's open for another couple of hours. We've had a couple of movements out, no movements in. Will there be? We don't think so, but you never know. You never know. As I say, it's a mad, bad, and unpredictable world of Ipswich Town Football Club. We've got a chat filling up. We'd love to see a chat filling up, so do get active with your thoughts on the window. We are back again tomorrow at 8:30. Myself and the Milk Tray Man. It's Daddy Daycare does talk in town. So join us for the Matchday preview of Cambridge. There's a nice to be, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes maybe. Could be less. Who knows? It's been a while since I sat in the chair. But looking forward to grabbing the thoughts of our contributors. Looking forward to seeing what the comments come in. So please do get involved. If you want to come and talk in town, fifth stand, hit the join button today on YouTube. Right, joining me first and foremost is something we've not seen for a while. Designer, George Nunn.
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
I wouldn't be surprised either way either if we have a player announced this evening, but probably not. One that was announced, George, was Tete Yengi going to Northampton Town on loan after signing a new deal.
Yeah,
that's one of the outs. I'll get your thoughts on that, and I'll get the thoughts of the second out of the day from the next guy I'll bring in. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, he's been out on loan a couple of times, hasn't really ever made any mark here at Ipswich.
No, not here. He made a bit of a mark when he was abroad, though, didn't he? So I think if he'd gone permanent today, I'd have been slightly disappointed we didn't get to see more of him. But it's good that he's getting a loan move here and at a relatively decent level and in a promotion push. So yeah, it'd be good come summer. I'm pleased that he signed a longer deal. I'd like to see more of him.
Yeah, I will as well. Yeah, he had a good spell in Finland, wasn't it? And obviously, he's one of the players that was signed under Paul Cook and Mark Ashton's early transfer, their first transfer window. And I always remember that very memorable quote of like Cookie sort of saying he hadn't really seen the player play, and it was like, was this the first signing off the dashboard? You know,
we're not past Paul Cook talking.
Never past Paul Cook, but no, but that's quite a sort of standout comment when you read that from a manager. And I remember thinking at the time, was it the first sort of signing of the stat-based era?
That's the passive-aggressive Paul Cook at his finest, isn't it? Yeah,
possibly so. Yeah, possibly so. How have you? Oh, thanks very much, Adi. Really appreciate that. 449 from Mr. Croucher. Thank you so much. Great to have you back. It's great to be back, Adi. Thank you for your prayers. We've got Lee Anderson in the chat. Love to see Lee. He's back. Welcome back, Guillotine. Absolutely. Looking forward to the business end of the season. You know, I'm refreshed, I'm relaxed, I'm ready to go. Matt Stein, Simon, the dashboard was collaborating. I can't even say that word. A bit like when you're broadband speaking, it's bouncing up and down when it's first installed. Yeah, we'll get into the dashboard, I'm sure, as we sort of progress through the evening. Second signing, or player leaving, just been announced by the football club on Twitter. What are your thoughts on that? He returns back to Burton.
Had an air of inevitability about it, didn't it? And yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think he's been pushed down to, as I'm sure we'll get to, he's been pushed down to at least fourth choice as a central striker. So,
well and truly.
So, yeah. So, good luck to him, and hopefully he has a good second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not worked out from here, is it? For whatever reason.
Oh yeah, but like he's what is he? 20.
I don't think it will though,
He's
George.
20. He's 22 years old. He's 22. So who knows? I don't expect we stand to lose too much on a Hadley if it doesn't work out. So that's fine. But let's see how he gets on back at Burton in familiar surroundings.
Do you think there's a chance for him here then?
It depends how he gets on. I mean, it feels to me like we just haven't seen enough of him. I mean, I didn't see enough of him at Burton, so I didn't know whether to be excited or not when we signed him. But we haven't seen enough of him to judge him. So let him go play some regular football, hopefully. And
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'll be paying more attention to him now than I did last time I was at Burton.
Well, somebody who was absolutely delighted when he signed. It was the best. What a great signing! It was a real handful the night that he watched him. He also said Joe Pigott would get 25 goals. Maybe he's.
I was going to say we had a similar conversation about Joe Pigott. I think
maybe his career as a scout is still low. The cruncher, Richard Moss.
You're talking utter Kim.
Hello, Richard Moss. How are you?
Throw me under the bus there, why don't you, boys? Thanks for that.
We all can't judge strikers, can we? So
No, we all can't judge midfielders, can we, Martin? I heard that your man's impressing at Exeter back in the team.
I don't think he is. He?
Yeah, he's back in the team. They said he's impressive, but I still don't think he's getting that Player of the Year trophy, George. Not just yet.
Not yet, but I did notice that he'd had a write up to say that he had a good return.
Nice. I didn't know that. You've made me very happy this evening. I would have said his time at Town is probably over as well. Just off the back of Hadmi. If Hadmi's time is over, I do think Rakina Dreams maybe is, on its dying embers. But Hadmi, you were impressed with him. George still thinks there's a chance for him when he returns in the summer.
I was going on one game. Let me add. I did judge him on one game, and he impressed that night, didn't he? He looked quite impressive. Give Town a bit of a torrid time. I'm not sure. Did we sign him off the back of that performance?
Yeah, possibly, probably. Yeah.
We're going to get into
George. I don't think we were going to lose. We're not going to stand to lose much on it.
No, but Hurst was obviously the number one target, wasn't he, George? Through the summer, and they couldn't get him for one reason or another. So that's who they picked at the last minute. And I remember sitting here quite happy when he signed.
Play to his strengths, though, do you think? Because obviously Burton that night, particularly that night, bombarded the box with balls, throw-ins.
Town don't do that.
Not really our style, is it?
I hope he goes back there and plays some football, scores some goals and keeps them up, and then we can assess in the summer where we are, where they are, and you go from there, don't you?
Yeah.
We do. And obviously Corey Ndaba recalled from his loan period with Burton and now out at Fleetwood. Is it Fleetwood on loan? I think it was.
Yeah, Fleetwood.
Obviously, last year, League Two Player of the Year with Salford.
Matt Phillips coming up a great one today. He's had more loans than a university student, that guy. 7 loans. He had 7 loans.
But each one, as I said to you, is a progressive loan. Progressive. I like him. What are your thoughts on Ndaba then, Rich?
I think if I'm judging the two, I think Baggett's probably ahead of him now. I think there's only probably going to be room for one of them, I think, at the football club. I don't think there's going to be room for both of them, Gov. And Corey went away to Salford, didn't he? And he got Player of the Year last year. And he came back and he had that chance pre-season to show what he's got. And then we signed Richard Keogh. So there you go.
We did. It's true.
And I know you're not really happy with that because Martin says, George, that Ndaba could have done the role that Keogh has, and he probably could have done, but he doesn't give you that experience sort of off the pitch and in the dressing room, which obviously...
To finish
and I think that we had that conversation when Keogh signed, and I think I said that it was I thought it was a decent signing, and I'm like completely against it. Keogh's not had a massive impact on the pitch, but I dare say he's had a good impact off it, and that is something that the likes of Baggett and Ndaba can't bring at their stage. But you're right, Rich. I think Ndaba may very well fall victim to the fact that we've got a bit of a glut of centre backs at the moment, and Baggett coming through, and he looks like the heir apparent to a space in our back line if one opens up.
A little bit like when we had Connor Wickham and Jordan Rhodes, and there was probably only room for one of them at the football club, and it was obviously Rhodes.
Neither of them.
Well,
went out to be neither of them, didn't it? Let's be honest. I think Ndaba and Keogh are very similar And I think you would have gotten no worse of a play from Ndaba, certainly no worse, than you have from Keogh. And you're not like you're winning the. It's not like you're winning the league title at the moment. Like you're third at the moment. You're probably going to finish third. Let's be honest. It's looking not over yet. I know you're going to tell me it's not over
You can't
yet.
say that with not 18
Because I said
games.
we
ago.
finished
It
third
looks like we
about
finished third. That's
10
a
games
fix,
ago.
man.
I said we finished third about 10 games ago
Just
when I
finished
said I
fourth.
don't trust this group.
Could finish fourth.
Okay. Either way, you ain't like you're talking about league titles and Ndaba could cost you that moment. Humphreys, on the other hand, I think has really benefited from being not just here, but in terms of injuries. That are you going to tell me in a world where if with Kamara staying fit and Don Ball staying fit, Humphreys really gets anywhere near 11 on a regular, maybe a couple
We had
of
this
times
discussion today, didn't we, in the chat, in the WhatsApp group? He didn't, but Kieran wanted him to hang around, and obviously he saw he'd see more benefit of him staying at the club. And you have to grab these opportunities, Martin, when they come along, and Cameron he's grabbed them.
Absolutely.
Got a new contract and got a big future moving forward.
So yeah, I just he's been rewarded with that with that faith. But then if you're in Derby, George, in the summer, you've got to take a risk because if you don't go out on loan, well, actually, it's been proved right because Burgess had an injury for a period of time, but they've stayed fit largely. Those central defenders.
Yeah, absolutely, and it doesn't feel like we're in any huge danger of needing Ndaba over the next 4 or 5 months, right? So, it's a sensible move for him, and it's a lot of loans that he's had, but they've all been good loans. Last season was particularly positive. So, yeah, it's the right move for him. I don't think it's the end. I don't think it's the end of him at Ipswich, but necessarily. But I think it's positive rather than sitting around and just watching the others play and rotate round. I think probably he's getting better experience being out and about. Yeah,
I agree. €10 from David. Appreciate that, David. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Glad everything's better with your daughter. I really appreciate that, David. Thanks ever so much. Got lots of comments coming in. I really appreciate every single well wish. I truly, truly do. Neil Willimore says injuries help us get a chance. Humphreys took his chance. Others might not. Josh Russell might be second. TikTok sensation. Josh Russell might quickly add. Might be second. Then Kevin, they lose to Plymouth. And we beat Cambridge. We'll be 1 point behind. Being back on Saturday. We'll talk about that tomorrow, obviously. Now, we've had four signings this window. Luongo, Hurst, Broadhead,
Clark.
Yeah, Clark. Thank you very much. Yeah, Clark. But he was signing that period where I was sort of, somewhere else. So I haven't really watched him play yet. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hearing good things. So they're the four. What's your overall thoughts on the four, first of all? Start with you, George. What's your overall thoughts on the four? 2 strikers or 2 attackers, a right back, and a central midfielder.
Positive. I think all 4 of them strengthen the squad in places that we needed strengthening, probably, arguably. I'm not sure they've all come in as first choice in their positions, particularly Luongo, I guess, is the obvious one. But I think he didn't play an awful lot, but he looked bright when he came on at the weekend. But yeah, particularly happy with the two more permanent signings. And I think Hurst, there's an element of scratching that itch. I think we spent so long trying to get him in the summer that when he became available in January, it was kind of a no-brainer. And I think he's looked decent when we've seen him. Not a sort of goal machine necessarily, but I think he adds something different. And he's another good number 9, I think, which is something that we don't. He's not the same threat as Ladapo, but he's obviously a sort of out and out striker. Whereas some of our forwards, I feel like, aren't necessarily the guy that can play up there on their own. So yeah, I'm generally positive about all of them.
Your thoughts, Rich?
Yeah, look, I just echo what George says there. We wanted strikers. We've got Broadhead's an exciting signing, to pay, what was it, $1.5 million we've paid for him. I've been quite impressed with Hurst. I know you're going to judge him on goals, Martin.
Certainly am. He's a striker after all.
Yeah, that's what they're paid to do.
The goal bonus.
I do think he's going to maybe struggle to get the required minutes because it's like he's still not completed, I don't think, 90 minutes this season. And I think if you're playing for Town and you're a striker, you're probably not going to complete 90 minutes, because it seems that whoever starts, it's probably 60, 65 minutes, and then you're off, and whoever's on the bench comes on. So Clark, future captain for Town, I think, moving forward in a few years' time. And Luongo, he impressed on Saturday. I know that was his first minutes. Well, I don't know when he's last played last season, George. I think at the end for Sheffield Wednesday. And I just think he's your natural replacement for Morsey if he gets an injury, if he gets suspension. And he showed on Saturday in them 15, 20 minutes that Sam Morsey's played every single game, Martin, but he doesn't have to now, because you've got Luongo who can do exactly the same thing as good as Sam Morsey can.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to judge Hurst on the goals, but I'm going to judge Hurst on performances as well. I want goals and performances. This is a player that we chased all summer. I expect special things, George, because it was an all-summer affair. We've gone back into the January, so there's clearly something they really love, really something about him they really covet, they want, they desperately think is going to add to the team, to the building. So I want to see it now, because I don't think, compared to Broadhead in the attacking sense, he's that much of a needle mover. Like we saw Broadhead against a team recently. Excuse me for the name that escapes me.
Morecambe.
On my mind. Morecambe. Thank you very much. And he was impressive. He really was impressive. Until I fell asleep about 65 minutes, I was shattered, but I fell asleep. But he was impressive all the same. Hurst has to have that same return at some point.
Yeah, and I think he will. I think he needs to get off the mark, and then he'll be fine. But I've been positive, impressed by some of his initial display. I think he just gets himself in good positions. I think he's not the kind of like rabid striker that Ladapo is, in terms of just like chases after everything and never seems to stop, which is great. It's exactly what you want. But Hurst seems to read the game more, plays from what little I've seen of him over the last couple of weeks. And he strayed offside a couple of times in his first showing, which there was some people around me in the ground groaning a little bit. But I think he just needs to get up to speed with Town's game, and then I think it will click for him. But I think I'm positively impressed so far with what he's given. But you're right, he needs to score goals. We can't completely rely on Chaplin to score all of our goals for the rest of the season.
No.
But yeah, I think it'll be a good acquisition from a loan perspective. But I think we'd have struggled to sign a better striker in January than him, to be honest.
Do you think a comment like this from Chris Boyd, which is quite on the mark, with the biggest impact the new signings bring might be making the other players raise their game? Freddie, for example, had a noticeably higher work rate last couple of games. Yeah,
because he knew that he wasn't really under threat. We had Caden Jackson, Hadme, John Jules obviously got injured, who I think we've missed massively. I think he's a big miss, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if he might be a summer signing, Martin, because I think he's out of contract at Arsenal. I think he's hoping to be back in March. The thing with Hurst, right? So Freddie Ladapo, when he came in, took him 10 games to get off the mark.
Mm-hmm.
He had to learn a new way of playing, and so did George Hurst. He hasn't. I was speaking to Hawks the other day. Now Hawks, he said maybe a bit unfair. He likens Hurst to when Chris Wood come in, Martin, if you remember. Wood was a good player, but he hadn't played any football. And he didn't really shine at Town, obviously, because Daryl Murphy was banging in the goals. But it just Hurst, with the way that we play, and I know the Fisherman's in the chat and he'll tell me that we should be playing two strikers, which we're not going to anyway. It's just Freddie's playing well. I see he got Player of the Month, which I think is fully deserved. It's just, where is George Hurst going to play the amount of football to get up to speed, Martin? That's the only thing that worries me a little bit about him. I'm not saying he won't score goals. He's worked hard. I was impressed with him Saturday. I thought he'd done really well against Burnley. He was up there fighting two centre halves. But let's judge these players when the shake-up comes in May. It's easy to say now, I don't think he's going to do it. He's not going to do this. He's not going to do that. Let's give him a fair crack of the whip, really.
The flip side of that, that's a good point, Crunch. But the flip side of that is that he doesn't have the pressure on him to, a bit like Wood didn't really, doesn't have the pressure on him to get up to speed so quick while Ladapo's scoring goals. But he should be able to get up to speed on the training pitch as much as anything else. I think that's the downside of signing, especially on loan in January, is that you don't have 10 games to to get up to speed, because in 10 games the season's done. So,
which is exactly what we were saying at the start of the window. You wanted to sign somebody who was sort of in that red hot form, etc.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think I think we could have. We haven't seen lots of him, but I think we certainly could have seen worse from him in his first couple of shows.
As I say, there's only one person who can change our minds, and that is the man himself. And we wish him nothing but the best in doing so. €20 from Ipswich Town. Appreciate that, my friend. He says, so glad to see you back, Gov. Glad things are on the up. Last Crunch was a terrible host. He's just joking, but as we know, never a truer word said, but in jest. Welcome back.
Probably only about the 7K views we've had, so couldn't be doing that bad.
Yeah, you lost 4,000 or 5,000, but I wasn't counting. Don't worry.
I will be counting them for the next week. If you make up the difference.
I bet you will. I will be. Right, hang on. Let me just write this pay for views down just to make sure I get over the line. Sorry, right, so who do you think has been the best signing? Obviously, this is all not Harry Hindsight. What's the preference to Harry Hindsight? What is this? Barry Foresight. Who's be the best signing then? Rich, you say Harry Clark's the future town captain. Do you think he'd be the best signing of this window?
Can I go a bit left field?
Of course you can.
Best signing this window?
Mm.
Cameron Humphreys for a new contract, 3.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Look, it's
all right.
Harry Clark impressive, Broadhead impressive. Luongo's played 20 minutes. But I think to secure him on that longer contract, because look, Mike said before, I think it was after the Rotherham game, he really impressed in that game. And you're going to have the vultures circling. You know, these young players, you've only got to look at a club like Brighton. You know, they're in a higher league than we are, Martin, but they have any decent players and they get pinched. Now, we've nailed him down to a longer contract, 3.5 years, I think it is, with an extra 12 months available. And he's developed massively this season, you know, and you said he probably wouldn't have played, would he, if Ball had been fit, if Kamara had been fit, but he has. And I did say, prior to when he was going to play at Port Vale on that Tuesday night, I think I said in the Sunday show, when he comes in, he needs to be the best player on the pitch. And he was that night, Martin. The first 20 minutes, they tried to rough him up, but they didn't really rough him up that much. He scored a great goal, and he's just improved. And look, Mike's a big fan. I know he's a big fan. I think we're all big fans of Cameron. At the minute, I think he's probably not going to get many minutes starting. Off the bench, I think he can make a difference, you know, and he's here for the next 3.5 years, and we hope he's here for a lot longer. We hope, obviously, we progress as a football club and we move up the leagues, and he can stay with us because I think he's got a really big future. I like the way he talks. I think he's great when he does an interview. George, you'd never know he was so young.
I think he's a shout for captain. Crunch. Yeah. I know that there's a certain amount of tongue in cheek with Clark, although I don't disagree based on the way he talks and his sort of background and things. But yeah, I wouldn't rule Humphreys out as a natural replacement for Morsey as captain. Maybe come around a bit early for him. But yeah, I think at some point it wouldn't surprise me at all if he ended up captain of club.
What's the signing of the window, Gov?
Why not? Yours, George?
Yeah. So I'm not going to be quite so meta. Mine's Clark. I think it would have been Broadhead. I was super excited by Broadhead, and maybe I'm just falling into the one display from the weekend. But yeah, I thought he was exceptional, and I have absolutely nothing but love for Junaid Tanassian. But he balanced us up on the right hand side in a way that we were talking not so long ago. Leif Davis bouncing us up on the left hand side. It's bonkers how quickly that changed with such quality at left back, and Clark I think just brings something different. He's almost. It feels almost like a sort of. He's got that centre back mentality of sort of the big crunching tackles, but also has the marauding runs down the right hand side. I just didn't have much, but like gushing praise for him from the weekend. So based on one game, I'm going with Clark.
Yeah, I don't think the biggest problem I can pay you is he looks a championship player that stepped down to play in his first game, which is what you want to see, particularly for the.
He looked like he'd been at Arsenal for 8 years, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is exactly where it's like. I know he's had loans and not played in the first team up there, but down there. But yeah, he looked like he had something about him. He had an edge about him, like Leif Davis does. And I think that's whatever happens for the rest of the season, I think the quality that we're buying when we buy players, Broadhead, Davis, and Clark, and with Humphreys coming through as a homegrown player as well, I think that as 4 players, that they walk into our team in the Championship, I suspect. So we're building a squad that whatever happens this year is going to do us all right over the next couple of years.
Yep, I'll stick with Broadhead as mine. I said when he arrived, he's a real needle mover, and then when I saw him play, that was confirmed. And I think he'll be a really good player for the back end of this season, wherever it may be, wherever it may end up. Lots of games still to play. You've got your different opinions on where that may be, but I think he'll be a real difference. And just watching him for 190, 160, whatever it may have been, just special. Movement, touch, a good pass on him. Looking forward to see what he does. And I thought when I signed him, good player. Will move that needle forward. And I've got no reason to think he won't be one of the best signings, if not the best signing out of the 4. Is there an area we're not probably going to? It's 9:30. We've got a couple of hours left. Not that great amount of time. You never say never with Mark Ashton and co. But is there an area where you still would look at the squad? We've got a fantastic graphic here, courtesy of Mr. George Nunn. When you look at the team, when you look at the squad, when you look at the balance, is there anywhere you feel you could still do with one addition? Rich, quality.
Can we move Colin Jackson out of that centre forward role, please?
To be clear, it's hard to. Where do you put him?
I put him on the
That's
right.
a question that everyone asks. Where do you put him?
You don't I think anyway. I'm not going to defend my graphic too much. You could chop and change a lot of these into different roles. This is how it sort of.
That's the balance of the squad, though, isn't it? Jackson can play centrally. You can play right. You can play left. That's the balance.
Yeah, and again, nothing against Caden and a couple of others as well. But I think we're starting to. We've got we've got a full squad, obviously, with the 22, but it's getting to that point where you look at people like Caden and think, well, it's not about numbers at this point. It's about, well, if Clark can come in and look the part and look like after one game, like Donatian's got his work cut out getting back into the squad, we could probably, there are other positions where we could fit someone. So I don't think we look particularly thin. If that's a team, if you're asking me if that's the squad that is going to turn things around and get us back into the top 2, I don't know. I think maybe we're a player short, but I don't know where.
You think we're okay? You're not quite sure where, Rich?
I think there's some creativity we're still lacking through the middle, which I was the first. I think Gab Sutton said in the summer that we'd miss Selena if we didn't sign him because he brought creativity, and I think I was a bit obnoxious about my response, probably in private, but was like, nah, we'll be fine. But I think obviously he knows an infinitesimal amount more about football than I do, but I think he's right. I think we're still, and I get that the dog doesn't agree with me, but I think we're still lacking. It's
the crunchers. Dog, George. It's just trying to get a word in. They're all going to go for it.
I'm not Crunch's dog. I'm my dog.
Absolutely. Chris Boyd ruled off last week when Bird went off and Jackson had to go on to the right. So that may be one spot that could be improved. Obviously, Edwards is there. We've got the right wing. Mike D still wants a box-to-box number 8. Rich, how about you? I do agree with George. That number 10 position really concerns me in the sense of if Chaplin, God forbid, was to have any length of time out, you've got Sonny, no impact on the stat sheet of Luco, and that's it. I mean, you have to put in Harness in behind or a Broadhead in behind, or you could do it. But
I just think we're being greedy here. Look at this squad.
Of course I fucking am. I've got a pinch of pot on me side, Crunch.
But we're not
Be greedy.
But we want to win the league.
Out of the league with this squad, there is something seriously wrong.
Well, that's
got everything. Everything at disposal. Yeah, Chaplin. If Chaplin got injured, fair enough. But who's really going to want to come? I just think John Jules. Get him fit. He's the one we need back because I think we've missed him.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't think I'd be saying that, George, at the start of the season when I signed him, because Martin says they're like he's a loan. He's a bit of a project, isn't he, Martin? They signed him, young player.
Josh Harrop these days. What's he up to?
Josh. Last time I see him, he was walking off the pitch, got a red card. Was it away at AFC Wimbledon? We were 3-0 down after about.
Those were the days. What a starting to be a Town fan, they were.
He took I think he had a great shot at Swindon. There's another one, and it went out the stadium because they didn't have a roof on the. Yeah, Josh Harrop. Oh my lord. God.
Oh, what a time.
What days they were. What days they were.
Halcyon.
My God.
Sorry.
But yeah,
made me
look,
laugh too much, that has. Sorry.
we would like a goal-scoring midfielder. But I don't think we play. Sam Morsey's not that. We're trying to turn him into that, but he's never going to be that. They obviously fancied Jack Taylor. Martin, you know that they've obviously chased him. I think he'll be one for the summer. I think Peterborough signed a couple, but they didn't really pay any money because they needed to shift one out. And I don't think they've shifted one out, so they'll probably revisit that, I'd have thought. Summer, I think he's got a year left on his contract in the summer, so we'll just have to see. But we've got strength in depth. If you put that graphic up again, we've got 2 players nearly for every single position. You know, what other team in this league have got 3 right backs? You know, it's crazy when you think of it.
Yeah, it's a great squad. Like we're being piggy, absolutely, but I think I'm not sure what it is that's caused this sort of funk that we're in at the moment. Maybe we've turned the corner, hopefully, but it looks more like a mentality issue than a squad issue. But I do think we're just some creativity in midfield. Evans and Morsey are too similar for me.
Well, yeah. I'm not disagreeing. After wanting Jack Taylor, I'm not going to disagree. If these names on that sheet, along with the other 4, I would be like a kid in the candy shop. I'm not going to lie; it would be delightful. And I would believe it. I would believe a lot more in us, but he isn't. And we don't think he will
You'd
be.
be great sporting director. You'd be like that guy at Chelsea. He's like a kid in a sweet shop there, isn't they?
I'd be a fantastic sporting director. Just haven't got the tasting mugs. That's the problem. I'm a very plain mug person.
Going back to the days of where was the mug with no handle?
I have got some of those left in the cupboard. Just
Would you collect them, do you?
I do. Well, I've dropped a lot of mugs. So when you drop a lot of mugs as I do, handles fall off. Anyway, great show. 3 right backs, absolutely right. Don't think one will be leaving in the next hour and a half. Could be wrong, but you never know.
It was interesting yesterday.
The thing about Vincent Young is that he can cover either side, right? So he's
that's true.
He's a useful player to have because he knows that he can cover either side in a pinch. So I don't see any reason why we would try and because rather than needing 3 left backs and 3 right backs just in case, we've got him who can cover both.
Are you surprised that they turned down Hull City, Martin, for Kyle Edwards yesterday? Bit of interest.
Was there firm interest in Kyle? Do you know more than me about that?
I don't know. There was obviously a little bit of interest, but
or was that somebody?
I can understand they want to keep. I can understand they wanting to keep him because we keep saying it. There's a player there, but we see it too fleeting. There was the Cambridge game, and you think, finally he's grasped that net, or he gets them 2 goals. The first one, look, was it a cross? Was it shot? Whatever it was, brilliant goal. And then you think, but then he played a couple of games. I think was it Harness got injured, started, didn't really impress. I'd think he'll be another one in the summer if we go up, Martin. I wouldn't be surprised if he's moved on.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Then why not move him on now?
I think they just want to keep him, then they just in case.
Right. Put the graphic back
there
up.
You go.
There you go. That is correct.
Like apart from Crunch wanting to move Jackson out there, but the reason that I've not put him there is because I don't want him to put him out there.
He was great on Saturday. Best game, George, in the town shirt.
No, 100%. He was great on Saturday. It was his best game in a town shirt. Out of how many games in a town shirt?
Yeah,
I
cannot argue
all over the bloody place. It's like again, it's nothing personal. It's just I don't think we have the cover on that side that we have elsewhere now. I think almost that is looking our weakest.
Ben Edwards normally.
From a depth perspective.
George. To be fair to
There's
Carl
no
Edwards,
consistency between Edwards and Jackson. So, like, if Burns gets himself injured or has a dip in form, whatever it might be, I don't think we don't have a ready-made someone that just.
I'll play Caden Jackson every day of the week over Carl Edwards, mine.
Look, remember, I was a Caden Jackson fan before it was a cool
Trendy.
thing to be a Caden Jackson fan. All right,
It's only been trendy for 48 hours, and there's plenty of time for that to change.
I've been lead bandwagon driver of that Caden Jackson bandwagon for many months. It's been cold, it's been lonely, but now it's rather full when I look behind me.
It's rather full, is it? I don't think it's rather full.
It's got a couple of people. Hey, it's got a couple of people, all right.
Until Mike starts driving that wagon, I'm not interested.
Tell you, that'll be the day that. That'd be the day that hell freezes over, I think. Bless him. Right, before we go, I've got Burton's video announcement of Ghassan Hadmi signing, which is up there. I'll get both your thoughts as we finally sort of round up the evening. Been a good show. Thank you very much for joining me, gentlemen. Let me just see if I can grab this. I did have it a minute ago. I've been watching it in the background. It's made me. It's made me. A few. If you've watched the show and I've been laughing at various points, it's because I've had it in my ears, and it's just quite funny. But here we go. So this is it. Hopefully you can see it. Can you see it?
No.
That would be because I haven't put it on the screen. There you go. Now you can, and now you can hear
I love it already. Can't hear it.
Sorry, gets me every time. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, amazing.
Fair play to them. I mean, any reference to bottom is good by me, although I expect it's lost on 90% of the people watching this.
When the gas man used to come round, absolutely, those were the days.
Not just that, the bottom reference. Like, how many people remember bottom watching this?
Dave's a Freeview channel. Most people have Dave, to be fair. You know, like it's been on there a couple of times. But I thought that was so funny. I've seen it about 4 times, still laugh. Well played. And it's not 11 p.m., Rich. Fancy getting a decent video out to announce a signing before some people are in bed.
Oh, you got real bee in your bonnet about that, haven't you?
Is this the Clark signing?
Yeah.
All the signs have been late.
I got the impression that was a mistake. Because there was
Marcus Harness was 11 p.m., George.
Immediately the next morning, there was in case you missed it last night, it's like, hang on a minute. Calm down. Like,
Marcus Harness was
late.
late.
People are missing it. Don't do it at 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly. Marcus Harness was the same. It's almost like there's a text gone around saying, "Here, lads, have we announced this signing yet?" Oh no, I didn't press public on the video.
No,
that was the latest one, wasn't it? Honest, 11 p.m.
I'm blaming Steed or Johnson for that. They're doing it on their own time. I think they meant that to go out at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. But I just want the very best standards and culture, Rich. That's all I want. The very best.
Yeah, I know you do. I know. But look, they've done some great work. The standard of clubs like signings, the reveals now of sort of, if you look at, I think it was it Hull City signed Cartwright? Obviously, Jay Cartwright for the in-betweeners. There was a great little video going around about that. There's some good ones out there. I think the best one was Burnley when they signed the South African striker, George. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
that was a good one. But yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing another one between now and 11 o'clock, Martin. I very much doubt it.
No, I do too. That's why we've gone live now. But you never know. We made it look stupid before, you know. And your percentage is teetering. So,
well, it's not really, because I did say today there'd be no more business, and you said to me there could be. You told me.
Hey, there's always a chance, all right.
But there's always a chance if the deals are right.
Right, we're back tomorrow, 8:30. Myself and the Milk Tray Man. He's got a Sam Morsey question for everybody. We'll look ahead to Cambridge, the Beanback. Obviously, a maximum away allocation being sold out in seconds. Some people were so quick they got there before the actual general
You
sale.
get them in your basket. at 5 to 10.
At 5 to 10.
Anyway,
There we go.
don't worry. If you missed out on tickets to Cambridge, I'm sure there'll be lots of tickets to Burnley next Tuesday night if you fancy it.
Well, there's still tickets to the Beanbag. There's still tickets to the Beanbag.
Are you going? You going to the Beanbag?
I'm considering it. I'm considering it.
Are you getting VIP? 26 quid for a meal in one of the suites?
26 quid
Yeah, 26 quid you can go.
for a Portman pie.
Not bad if you're going to get a meal.
Yeah, proper meal.
Yeah, but the meal will be Portman pie, and I can't stand
know myself.
pies.
Well,
Like,
there you go.
the ticket offer is £6 pie and a drink. Well, what if I don't like a pie? What, can I have something else? And I don't mean a roll over hot dog either.
You can go in a suite.
Roll over hot dog.
No, I don't want indigestion, thanks. This is all they ever give me. Anyway, we're done. That is the cruncher. That is the
Great to
artist
see you back,
Jordan.
mate. Great to see you back, mate.
He's been delighted to be back. Thank you for the well wishes. Thank you for the super chats, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you.